5 years after he began serving time in a U.S. prison, marijuana activist Marc Emery returns to Canadian soil on Tuesday. Emery was extradited to Seattle in May of 2010 when he pleaded guilty to selling marijuana seeds from Canada to American customers. Emery is returning to Canada when attitudes towards marijuana have greatly shifted from when he was first arrested 10 years ago by the Drug Enforcement Agency in the U.S. Marc's wife, Jodie, is also a political activist, and she joins us now via Skype. Jodie, hello. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I guess the big question is, what are the next couple of days going to look like for you, for Marc, and for everybody? And where's he coming through?
Well, right now I'm at home about to start packing for my trip out to Windsor, Ontario. We anticipate that on Tuesday, Marc will be picked up from the Louisiana jail, taken to the Detroit airport, where U.S. Marshals will escort him in custody to the border, and we hope that he'll be walking through on the tunnel side. That's our understanding.
Okay, is there a big event, big party planned for Ontario on Tuesday morning there, or afternoon?
Yeah, I'll be at the Windsor City Hall Plaza out there waiting for him to cross because we don't know what time it will be. And then we'll fly to Toronto on Wednesday morning and begin doing our media and meeting with even more supporters and fans who are waiting for us. And we'll spend a few days out there before flying home to Vancouver here on Sunday the 17th, early in the morning.
Okay, I can tell you're quite excited. Marc's been gone for several years now, but what would you say that his stature has grown? Is he almost a legend now? Has it increased in his absence?
Absolutely. Marc was very well known, probably the most well-known marijuana activist in the world, even before he was extradited in May 2010. And all of his work for 20 years, since 1994 when he started, it's all come to fruition, and we're seeing change happening all over around us, including Washington, D.C., Alaska, and Oregon this year joining in on voting for legalization. So Marc is coming home with a very different landscape, and I can see Washington State from my border, and they're selling marijuana right there, right across our border, and Marc gets to come home having played a big role in that. But we do have a lot of work here at home to do.
And speaking of that work, you've always been quite outspoken politically, and now there's word that you're going to try to make that more official. What role will you play, will Marc play in the coming, we have civic elections in BC this fall, we have a federal election probably next year. Where do you see your role and Marc's role in these endeavors?
Well, 10 years ago, I arrived in Vancouver, and I've run for provincial office 4 times, twice with the Marijuana Party and twice with the BC Greens. I've been invited to run federally with the Greens last time around, and even civically I've been asked to run, but I didn't have the time. Marc and I, our goal is to get any party in power to legalize marijuana. And now we have the Liberal Party of Canada looking at analyzing and agreeing with marijuana legalization as a policy. So 10 years ago, Marc and I helped get thousands of new members for the NDP because of their decriminalization position. But now, 10 years later, we have a Liberal Party of Canada offering legalization, which is not a ridiculous idea. Again, it's happening right south of our border. So Marc and I are happy to put our support behind the Liberal Party of Canada and get our political revenge, as people have heard. But political revenge means getting back at an unjust government in the only way we can. That isn't a violent uprising. The only way we can get back at a bad, unjust government is through voting day, through the ballot box. So we need to get our political revenge on election day next year. Revenge for the environment, for the scientists, for the women, for the Indigenous people of this country. For so many reasons, we need to replace the Harper government. That's why Marc and I are excited about supporting the Liberals for legalization and to replace the unjust Harper government.
Okay, marijuana legalization has been a big part of the conversation recently, but every time we see polling around election issues, what are top of mind for most voters? It's always the economy, healthcare, education, things like that in that order. A year from now, where do you see the issue of marijuana legalization being in people's minds?
Well, we know that
as deciding issues.
Right. 2% of Canadians say it's a deciding issue. That's still a couple million. But when we think of marijuana legalization, it actually ties directly into the economy, healthcare, education, and jobs. When you look at Colorado and Washington State, they have actually said money has to be used for building schools and for going towards drug prevention and different parts of society that need money. So right now, Colorado is building their schools with money from legal marijuana sales. So we're also seeing American citizens being allowed to work in a legal marijuana industry, taking jobs away from gangsters. So here in Canada, when we're looking at legalization, it's not about let's sell pot so people can get high. It's about taking a multi-billion-dollar industry into the legal industry and letting Canadians work those jobs and pay taxes. And it also means an immediate savings of billions of dollars every year in marijuana law enforcement. That's without even selling pot. We can immediately save billions every year across this country in pot law enforcement just by legalizing it. I'd prefer those billions go towards hospitals, education. There's so much more we can use that money for. So legalization is actually about the economy, jobs, healthcare, and more.
Okay, and no doubt the message you'll be taking all over the country while Marc still has all the hype of his release and his return, all the excitement. What's going to happen? What's he planning on doing once things settle down, once life returns to normal, whatever that normal is? What will that look like?
If I ever get a normal life, let me know when that happens. Our life is pretty busy ahead. In 1 month from now, we're already scheduled to be in Spain and Ireland speaking to activists and political representatives about legalization. We're being invited around the world to talk to people about reforming their laws. Of course, we also plan to tour throughout British Columbia. We love our home province, but we do plan a welcome home tour across Canada, similar to the farewell tour that we did in 2009. And we're also being invited to take part in a university speaking tour throughout the early part of the year. And central to our messaging, as always, will be legalization, but it also includes getting rid of the Harper Conservative government because things won't get better under them. More people will go through prison and the separation and suffering that I've had to go through with Marc if we elect a Conservative government. I can't bear the thought of that much more expense. So Marc and I are committed to working politically. I hope we'll get some time off as well. We'll sneak away to Tofino on the coast or something.
Yeah, I think you might need that. It's been a long time since you've been able to do anything like that. Thank you very much, Jodie Emery, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that's Jodie Emery, the wife of the Prince of Pot, Marc Emery, for us in Vancouver today.